I love wood. I love using wood to build our houses, but mostly I love wood and how they make the surface and the finishes of houses look. They are beautiful. Wood is really the personification of nature. The natural textures of the grain, the growth rings that you can see in wood show you that that tree has been alive for years and years and years. I also don't like wood. And I don't like wood anytime it sits on the outside of a house. And the reason I don't like it is because it takes an enormous amount of effort to keep that wood looking good unless you paint it. And if you paint it, you can't see what's actually underneath the paint. And so you're not really taking any advantage of what wood gives you. The other problem with wood is that it degrades in the sunlight. That UV light comes down and causes a lot of damage and oxidizes that finish and turns that wood gray. I also don't love wood on the exterior because wood is flammable. There's some species of wood like Mangaris and Machiche and Ipe that are not very flammable, and it takes a lot of heat to heat them up enough to where they can burn. But most wood, especially wood that we get in the United States, like cedar and redwood and Doug fir and pine, when they're on the exterior of a building, they are really big flame sources. And so I just don't love wood when it's used as a finished material on the outside of the house, unless it never sees the light of the sun. Now, underneath this house right here in the Bay Street Passive House, we have recycled redwood that we've used that are old fence boards. And those fence boards have been milled down so that you could see that natural grain of the material. And they're on the underside of the eaves, so they never get exposed to the sun. So they will look like this for a decade or two before they need to be refinished. Right here, what we have is a deck, and this deck is a recycled deck. So we actually planed all these boards similar to the eaves above us, and we reuse those boards as this decking material. When you build a deck and you have that wood on the flat or on the vertical as siding, you have to protect that wood from the sun or it's going to turn gray within a year or two. On this deck, we didn't want it to turn gray, so we were going to use a stain. So you have three options. You have a transparent stain, which allows you to see all the beauty of the wood underneath that stain. You have a semi-transparent stain, which gives it some color, but more protects that wood from the sun. And then you have a fully opaque stains, which basically are like paint. So on this deck, we tried to go with something that was gonna provide a little bit more durability on that deck. So we would only have to refinish it about every 3 years. We used a semi-transparent stain. It looks horrible. So not only is the wood super, super dry, so it absorbed a tremendous amount of that stain, and it basically turned it to paint, but it did it in such a way that it's not consistent. So we get blotching and all of this really ugly effect. And then it didn't protect it. It's been less than a year, and the deck is already starting to show its age. So what are you to do with horizontal surfaces or vertical surfaces? Well, one option is to not use real wood. One option is to use wood and expect it to go gray and be okay with that. Another option is to paint it with something that will last forever and protect it from the sun. Or another option, and I don't like this option, but as far as aesthetics, it's probably the best option, is to use a transparent stain to have that beauty of that wood show through all year round and be willing to accept the fact that you're gonna have to refinish that deck or that siding every year or two forever. What's your opinion? What do you like? Do you like the idea of having a semi-transparent stain, but having that built-in requirement for maintenance every year or two? Or do you like the idea of painting the entire deck? I'm really torn. I love wood, but I don't love maintenance. And I really don't love having to pay somebody to refinish a deck or siding on a house year after year after year. Let me know what you think. If you're interested in learning more about building science or about building a better way, hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way.